Yeah, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey.
Let me start with this. School success does not happen by accident. It doesn't happen because of one great teacher. It doesn't happen because of one strong program. It doesn't happen because we just have a good group of kids this year. Sustained success starts with the leader. And I know that can feel like a heavy statement because leadership comes with pressure, but it also comes with influence. And the reality is your vision, your systems, and your clarity will either move your school forward or hold it in place. Let's start with vision. Every school has goals, but not every school has a clear vision. And there's a difference. A goal says, we want to improve test scores. A vision says, this is what great teaching and learning will look like in every classroom, every day. That's different because vision is not just something you say at the beginning of the year. It's something people can see. It's something people can feel. Let me give you a scenario. You walk into 3 different classrooms in the same building. In one room, students are working quietly on a worksheet. In another, they're in small groups having discussions. In another, the teacher is lecturing while students take notes. Now, none of those are necessarily wrong. But here's the question. Is that by design or by default? Because without a clear vision, every classroom becomes its own island. And consistency disappears. Strong leaders don't leave that up to chance. They define what quality instruction looks like. They model it. They talk about it. They reinforce it in every conversation. So when teachers walk into their classrooms, they're not guessing. They're aligned. Now let's talk about systems. Because vision without systems is just talk. You can say all the right things about instruction, culture, and expectations. But if there are no systems to support it, nothing sticks. Think about discipline. If every teacher handles behavior differently, if consequences are inconsistent, if follow-up doesn't happen, then what do you get? Confusion. Students don't know what to expect. Teachers feel unsupported. And leadership ends up constantly reacting instead of leading. Now flip that. A clear system, consistent expectations, follow through every time, communication that keeps everyone on the same page. Now the building feels different. There's structure, there's predictability, there's trust. Same thing with instruction. If your expectation is strong, engaging lessons, what systems are in place to support that? Do teachers have time to collaborate? Are walkthroughs focused on growth or just compliance? Is feedback consistent and actionable? Because without systems, expectations turn into frustration. Now let's talk about clarity. This is where a lot of schools struggle because leaders often assume that because they said something, it's clear. But clarity is not about what you said. It's about what people understood. Let me give you a real example. You tell your staff, we need to improve engagement. That sounds good, but what does that actually mean? Does it mean more group work, more questioning, less lecture? Without clarity, every teacher interprets that differently. And now you're back to inconsistency. Clarity sounds like this. In our classrooms, we expect students to be actively thinking and participating. That could look like turn and talks, writing responses, or explaining their thinking out loud. Now people have something to work with. Here's another example. You tell staff, we need to tighten up hallway expectations. Okay. What does that mean? Clarity sounds like students should be walking on the right side, voices at a level 0 or 1 and moving directly to their destination. Staff should be actively monitoring and redirecting in the moment. Now it's clear. Now it's actionable. And here's the key. Vision, systems, and clarity all work together. If one is missing, the whole thing breaks down. You can have a strong vision, but without systems, nothing gets implemented. You can have systems, but without clarity, people don't follow them consistently. You can have clarity, but without vision, everything feels disconnected. Now let's bring this back to leadership, because this is where you matter most. As a leader, your job is not just to manage the building. Your job is to align the building, to make sure everyone is moving in the same direction. That shows up in your daily actions. What do you prioritize? What do you reinforce? What do you let slide? Because what you allow becomes the standard. Let's be real again. If you say engagement matters, but you never talk about it in feedback, it won't stick. If you say behavior expectations matter, but you don't follow through consistently, it won't stick. If you say collaboration matters, but you don't protect time for it, it won't stick. Leadership is not about what you say once, it's about what you consistently reinforce. Let me give you one more scenario. A new teacher walks into your building. They're trying to figure things out. They're watching everything. If your vision is clear, if your systems are strong, if your expectations are consistent, they will quickly understand what matters, and they will rise to that. But if things are unclear, if expectations change depending on the situation, if systems aren't followed, they'll feel lost. And now you're playing catch up. So here's the takeaway. If you want your school to improve, start with yourself, not in a negative way, in an ownership way. Ask yourself, is my vision clear and visible? Are my systems consistent and supportive? Is my communication actually clear or just frequent? Because when those three things are aligned, teachers feel supported. Students know what to expect. And the building runs with purpose. At the end of the day, great schools are not built on luck. They're built on leadership that is intentional, consistent, and clear. So as you walk into your building tomorrow, remember this. It starts with you, your vision, your systems, your clarity. Because when those are strong, everything else has a chance to be.
Yeah, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey, what's the word? Leroy, what's the word? Leroy, hey.